This is the strongest weapon in the galaxy, Starkiller base. It is located on a planet covered in ice and snow, and was secretly constructed by the evil First Order. It's essentially a super weapon, which can use energy from the galaxy as its power source. Its power is so great that it can instantly destroy multiple planets. As it powers up, 5 Republic planets are turned to dust in an instant. Meanwhile, on an unknown planet, a woman is being drawn by a mysterious force. Her fate is about to change. As well, the lightsaber that once belonged to the Jedi also glows faintly in the darkness. It seems to be excited for its soon-to-be new master. A battle concerning the fate of the galaxy is about to unfold in this vast starry sky. Many years ago, the New Republic completely defeated the Galactic Empire. The remnants of the Empire finally signed a peace treaty with the New Republic, the Bastion Agreement. The reign of the Galactic Empire came to an end. The New Republic was established. There was also a brief period of peace in the galaxy. However, the seeds of darkness had already been quietly sown within the remnants of the Empire. With the strong support of the remnants of the Galactic Empire, the evil military organization First Order quietly emerged. They aimed to eliminate the last Jedi, Luke, and restore the centralized rule of the Galactic Empire as their mission. Meanwhile, on the side of the New Republic, Princess Leia, under the directive of the High Command, established a resistance organization to combat the First Order, and Luke, as the last Jedi, had long since gone into hiding for many years. However, the power of the First Order far exceeded their expectations. The resistance was retreating in the face of confrontations with this organization, falling into an unprecedented predicament. In this critical moment of survival, Princess Leia placed her last hope on her brother, Luke. She desperately hoped that with his strength, he could save the galaxy. According to reliable intelligence, an elder on the planet Jaku had clues to Luke's whereabouts, so Leia secretly dispatched ace pilot Dameron to Jaku to retrieve the star map. Just as Dameron took the star map containing Luke's trails from the elder, danger was silently approaching. At the same time, the First Order's assault team appeared like phantoms, whose target was this crucial star map. It turned out that the dark side user Snoke, who led the First Order, also wanted to find Luke. They didn't intend to let Luke go. As long as the Jedi remained alive, they would pose a threat to their rule. Dameron felt a sudden shock in his heart, and decisively turned to flee. He tried to escape the enemy's pursuit. However, the enemy's artillery fire was dense like raindrops, and Dameron's starship was unfortunately hit. The tail was severely damaged. Seeing the innocent villagers around him being put in danger because of him, Dameron was filled with guilt in his heart. In this life and death moment, he decisively handed the star map to the droid BB-8, then he resolutely turned around and plunged into a deadly battle against the enemy. Unexpectedly, fearful of Luke's return, Snoke sent his own apprentice, Kylo Ren, to the battlefield himself. His appearance made the already tense situation even more urgent. Dameron was surrounded by the enemy and finally captured. He watched helplessly as the kind old man was brutally killed by the enemy. Innocent villagers were also slaughtered mercilessly. He was filled with despair. Meanwhile, BB-8 took advantage of the chaos to escape the enemy's grip. However, the naive BB-8 was soon captured again. Just as it was about to face the fate of disassembly, Scavenger Ray accidentally witnessed the scene. Without hesitation, she rescued BB-8. At the same time, new recruit Finn also underwent a spiritual awakening. During this brutal battle, he personally witnessed the brutal actions of the First Order. The scene of village slaughter deeply shocked him. Looking at his blood-stained hands, Finn realized that he had become an accomplice to evil. His inner conscience erupted like a dormant volcano. He made up his mind to escape this grim battlefield and seek a path of righteousness for himself. Therefore, not knowing how to pilot a starship, he set his sights on Dameron's ship. Just as Dameron, who had just endured harsh torture, was also longing for a chance to escape, their eyes met, and in this moment, they reached a tacit understanding and decided to cooperate. Together, they would escape this dangerous place. However, their escape route was not smooth. The starship had just taken off when it was spotted by the enemies of the First Order. The enemy's artillery fire pursued them like fierce beasts, relentlessly chasing after them. Under the enemy's fierce attack, the starship was severely damaged and lost control. It plummeted rapidly towards the planet Jaku. Finn reacted quickly and decisively jumped out to escape. After rescuing Dameron's jacket, he could only watch as the starship was swallowed by quicksand. Finn was filled with sorrow, but he had no time to dwell in his sadness. Bearing the pain in his heart, he trudged through difficult terrain. Eventually, he reached a desert city. At this moment, he was dry and exhausted, and upon seeing a water source, he gulped it down. Meanwhile, Rey arrived at the market with BB-8. The planet Jaku was a mix of people and situations. Rey knew that walking around the market with BB-8, a valuable droid, would undoubtedly put her in danger. However, she did not back down. As she had feared, several greedy thieves had already set their sights on them, but Rey was not a lamb to be slaughtered. She was not only kind-hearted but also agile. Using her own strength, she cleverly dealt with the attackers' assaults. Just then, BB-8 suddenly noticed that Finn was wearing Dameron's clothes. Rey thought Finn was a thief, and immediately stepped forward to subdue him, but after some explanation, she realized it was just a misunderstanding. From Finn, Rey learned of Dameron's plight. It turned out that after Dameron was captured, Finn risked everything to help him escape successfully. However, fate always seems to play tricks on people. Dameron unfortunately perished when the ship crashed, forever buried in the desert. Just finished talking, the First Order's pursuers reappeared. The enemy's aerial bombardment came like a storm, and the market instantly turned into ruins. Rey and Finn hurriedly looked for a chance to escape. They originally planned to leave on a starship, but didn't expect the enemy's shell to hit the ship, accurately blowing it to smithereens. They had to run into an old and dilapidated starship to avoid the enemy's attack. However, what they didn't expect was that this seemingly unremarkable starship was actually the legendary Millennium Falcon. Using her superb piloting skills, Rey successfully started the ship. They thought they could finally shake off their pursuers, but the enemy relentlessly pursued them. Finn manned the weapons, engaging in fierce combat with the foes. To shake off the enemy, Rey piloted the Millennium Falcon into the wreckage of ships, skillfully navigating through the dangerous area. They finally managed to evade some of the pursuers. They flew into space, but before they could catch their breath, the Millennium Falcon was suddenly captured by mysterious forces. All of the ship's control systems instantly failed, leaving Rey and Finn at a loss. They had to quickly seek shelter and hide, vigilantly watching everything around them. At this critical moment, the owner of the Millennium Falcon, Solo, and his partner Chewbacca suddenly appeared before everyone. The moment Rey saw Solo, her eyes sparkled with surprise, and her excitement was obvious. It was clear that Solo had been wandering through this galaxy for many years. With a renowned reputation, even in this remote area, he had considerable influence. However, Solo was always a cautious person, and he didn't want to easily attract trouble. But when Rey and Finn revealed to him that the droid BB-8 contained a crucial secret star map, Solo's curiosity was completely sparked. After all, in this galaxy full of unknowns and adventures, any mysterious clue could lead to unexpected gains. So, before the First Order's pursuers arrived, Solo quickly repaired the Millennium Falcon with his exceptional skills, preparing to take everyone away from this dangerous place. Just as they were about to set off, Solo's old nemesis, Jabba the Hutt, showed up. At the critical moment, Rey devised a quick plan, releasing the Rathtar monsters that were imprisoned on the ship. In the chaos, these ferocious monsters successfully attracted the attention of Jabba's henchmen, helping Solo and the others escape the crisis. Taking advantage of the enemy's distraction, the Millennium Falcon successfully started up and entered hyperspace, quickly leaving the planet Jaku. As everyone let out a slight sigh of relief and opened the map obtained from BB-8, they discovered it was not a complete star map, but merely a part of it. Using his years of experience and sharp intuition, Solo guessed that Luke was likely heading to the first Jedi Temple. In order to find Luke and to confront the evil First Order, they had to quickly deliver the map to Leia. Then they piloted the Millennium Falcon to the beautiful green planet Takodana. Here, there was an old and historic bar filled with legendary tales, whose owner was Solo's old friend, Maz. However, as soon as they stepped through the door of the bar, they keenly sensed that a few suspicious alien spies were watching them. Solo knew that the situation was critical, so he planned to entrust Rey, Finn, and the crucial BB-8 to Maz. In Solo's mind, Maz was a trustworthy person, and he believed she had the ability to deliver BB-8 to Leia. To Solo's surprise, Maz declined his request, and then looked at Solo with determination, urging him to quickly return to Leia to re-engage in the fight against the First Order. At this moment, Finn's heart began to waver. He looked at Rey, who had a puzzled expression. After much hesitation, he finally confessed his true identity. He was a defector from the First Order. Finn knew well the strength and brutality of the First Order, and he just wanted to distance himself from the conflict, to live a stable and peaceful life. He didn't want to be caught up in this endless strife, so he made the decision to leave. Finn's departure made an already difficult task even more bleak. Getting BB-8 safely to Princess Leia seemed almost hopeless. However, just after Finn left, Rey suddenly felt a mysterious force surging around her, as if the force was calling out to her. Following the direction of the sound, she arrived at a decrepit basement. In front of her Leia box, she slowly opened it, and a Jedi lightsaber appeared before her. The moment Rey's hand touched the lightsaber, a strange force surged through her. Visions of her past and future flashed in her mind. She was an orphan, forced to separate from her parents at a young age. For many years, she had stayed on Jaku, hoping that her parents would return, yet in the visions of her future, there were still no signs of her family. This harsh reality plunged Rey into confusion and helplessness just then. Maz suddenly appeared, telling her that this lightsaber belonged to the Jedi Knight Luke, and she said with certainty that the talented Rey was undoubtedly an excellent candidate to study the Force. Maz earnestly told Rey that the hope she had long waited for had already been shattered. She should let go of the past and look forward. Rey was pierced by this harsh truth, and tears flowed down her face uncontrollably. She could not accept this fact, and could only force herself to flee the bar. At the same time, due to repeated failures in capturing BB-8, the First Order decided to take more aggressive actions. They planned to take action before Luke came out of hiding, so the Starkiller base, with its immense destructive power, was rapidly activated. Devastating energy erupted from the Starkiller, and a suffocating red light illuminated half of a planet. The already unstable New Republic suffered a catastrophic blow. The Starkiller base, engineered from an entire planet, had terrifying power. It can destroy multiple planets at the same time. This is undoubtedly a massive disaster. At this moment, Finn, who was preparing to leave, was shocked to see meteors falling from the sky. He realized that the lawless First Order was so powerful now that even if he fled to the farthest place, it seemed difficult to escape their threat. To avoid further complications, Maz had to ask Finn to deliver Luke's lightsaber to Rey. But at this moment, the First Order's pursuers arrived once again. The scene immediately plunged into chaos. The hastily prepared group was finally captured. Meanwhile, Rey, who had run deep into the forest, and the fortunate BB-8 became the only survivors of this chaos. Just as everyone found themselves in a desperate situation, reinforcements from the Resistance arrived in time. They launched a fierce counterattack against the First Order's army. To everyone's surprise, Dameron, that had been swallowed by the quicksand, was also present among the reinforcements. The situation instantly turned around. The First Order troops, who initially had the upper hand, began to fall into a passive position. However, Rey encountered a significant crisis. Kylo Ren personally took action to capture BB-8. Moreover, he became intensely interested in Rey, who had just awakened the Force. Just as Kylo Ren was about to coerce Rey into revealing BB-8's whereabouts, the arrival of the Resistance disrupted his plans, leaving him somewhat caught off guard. In a moment of desperation, Kylo Ren could only knock Rey unconscious and take her away, then ordered a retreat. Finn, who was not far away, witnessed this scene. He felt an overwhelming sense of despair. Meanwhile, Solo and Leia finally reunited after many years apart. Looking at the still radiant Leia before him, Solo was filled with emotion. However, before they could properly catch up, a new problem arose. The star map in BB-8 was only a partial fragment, making it impossible to determine Luke's hiding place. The situation momentarily reached a stalemate. Worse still, the threat from Starkiller base still loomed large. According to reliable sources, the First Order has discovered the precise location of the Resistance headquarters. They are just waiting for Starkiller base to finish charging before launching their bombardment. The energy demands of this colossal weapon are astonishing, requiring the energy of an entire star to replenish. However, it has a fatal flaw. As long as its thermal oscillator is destroyed, Starkiller base will self-destruct. With Finn's assistance, the group gained a deeper understanding of Starkiller base, and learned the exact location of the thermal oscillator. The urgent task now is to destroy the thermal oscillator before it finishes charging. Time is running out. Solo decided to lead Finn and Chewbacca to pilot the Millennium Falcon to set off first. Before leaving, Leia told Solo that their son, although fallen to darkness as Kylo Ren, and that his master, Luke, hadn't been able to awaken him, but perhaps his father could still awaken the light within him and bring him back. Under Leia's hopes,
And now,
Solo and the others utilized hyperspace travel to quickly arrive at Starkiller base. Under Finn's guidance, the three carefully infiltrated the interior of the base and found the management droid, threatening it to shut down the base's shield. On the other side, led by the ace pilot Dameron, the squadron of ships quickly mobilized. They launched a fierce bombardment on the unshielded thermal oscillator. However, the strength of the thermal oscillator was far greater than anyone had imagined, making it difficult to destroy. The First Order had regained their composure and began to retaliate furiously. Both sides fell into a stalemate. At this moment, Rey was unaware of everything happening outside. She was being tortured by Kylo Ren. During this time, she unexpectedly triggered the Force's self-defense mechanism, even accessing Kylo Ren's deep memories in reverse, which stunned Kylo Ren. In desperation, he had to leave and think of another way. After Kylo Ren left, Rey attempted to use the Force to manipulate her guard, and to her surprise, She successfully freed herself from her shackles. Once free, she engaged in agile guerrilla tactics within the base and quickly reunited with Solo and the others. Just as the group was preparing to leave amid the chaos, they witnessed the devastating scene of the squadron nearly being wiped out. At this point, there were only 10 minutes left until Starkiller Base completed charging. To save themselves from this crisis, the group turned back to the base headquarters without hesitation, planning to blow up the thermal oscillator from the relatively weak internal defenses, so several of them separately planted bombs. However, just as everyone was about to evacuate, an unexpected event occurred. A young man with an iron mask appeared in front of them. Although the mask obscured his features, Solo recognized him at a glance. It was none other than his own son, Kylo Ren. A complex wave of emotions surged in Solo's heart. He slowly walked forward, with a gentle expression on his face, trying to convey to Kylo Ren that he meant no harm. Leia had always held a deep hope for the family to reunite. Even before Solo set off, she repeatedly urged him to try to redeem Kylo Ren and bring him back to the right path. The long-lost familial bond washed over Kylo Ren's heart like warm tide, causing this young man, whose conscience hadn't yet fully extinguished, to waver. Under Solo's gaze, he slowly removed his mask, revealing a face filled with complex emotions. As he prepared to hand over his makeshift lightsaber, he hesitated. It seemed as though he was struggling between light and darkness. At this moment, the last glimmer of sunlight was mercilessly swallowed by Starkiller Base. Darkness rapidly enveloped the entire Earth. Kylo Ren suddenly pierced Solo's body with his lightsaber. Solo looked at his son in disbelief. Until the last moment of his life, he was still trying to awaken the light within Kylo Ren, but in the end, his hope was shattered. Solo's death was like a bombshell, throwing his old partner, Chewbacca, into a frenzy. He furiously raised his weapon and shot at Kylo Ren. After injuring Kylo Ren, Chewbacca pressed the detonator in his hand. At this moment, there were only 2 minutes left before Starkiller Base fired. Only 2 minutes remained. A violent explosion spread outward from the base. The thermal oscillator suffered severe damage. Meanwhile, the squadron in aerial combat seized the opportunity. Under the cover of their teammates, the pilot Dameron flew his starfighter, taking advantage of the gap created by the explosion, and launched indiscriminate bombardments deep into the base. Intense gunfire rained down like a storm for the already heavily damaged Starkiller Base. This was undoubtedly a fatal blow in the end. With everyone's joint efforts, Starkiller Base couldn't withstand the massive destruction and crumbled to dust. It turned into cosmic dust. Meanwhile, Rey and Finn, who were preparing to escape amidst the chaos, encountered Kylo Ren's obstruction once again. Wanting to protect Rey, Finn drew his lightsaber and faced Kylo Ren in combat. Although Kylo Ren had been shot earlier, his power was still formidable. In the fierce battle, Finn's lightsaber was knocked away, and he was seriously injured and fell unconscious. Finn's injury caused Rey to panic. Her extreme anger and worry triggered the force within her. She unexpectedly mastered the ability to move objects with her mind. The lightsaber that once belonged to Luke seemed to respond to her call, flying into Rey's hand on its own. The lightsaber erupted with dazzling light in Rey's grasp. A fierce confrontation between light and darkness commenced, accompanied by the continuous sounds of explosions nearby. The battle between Rey and Kylo Ren grew increasingly intense. The gifted Rey fought harder and harder, with the force continuously surging within her. Each of her strikes carried powerful force, quickly driving Kylo Ren back step by step. Just as Rey was about to defeat Kylo Ren, a bottomless chasm suddenly appeared between them, separating the two. It turned out to be the self-destruction of Starkiller Base, causing the entire planet to begin to crack. The situation became critical. They had to escape this dangerous place quickly. At the crucial moment, Chewbacca piloted the Millennium Falcon. Arriving just in time, he swiftly rescued Rey and the unconscious Finn, and then flew the ship away. The mission was finally a complete success. Upon returning to the Resistance headquarters, the survivors who had escaped death were warmly welcomed. However, everyone's hearts were filled with sorrow, because Solo had left them forever. Leia was especially heartbroken, immersed in the pain of losing her loved one. At this moment, the long-dormant D2 suddenly awakened. It completed the star map that everyone had fought so hard to obtain. After much effort, Luke's place of hiding was finally confirmed. It turned out to be a safeguard left by Luke before his retreat. As Finn remained in a coma, accompanied by Chewbacca, Rey piloted the Millennium Falcon and set off immediately. After a long journey, they soon arrived at a picturesque planet. There, Rey saw the weather-beaten Luke. She hurriedly approached him and respectfully returned the lightsaber to its rightful owner. The legendary Jedi Master finally appeared. His presence seemed to bring endless hope. To the New Republic illuminating the path forward for everyone, the movie comes to an end here. Star Wars: The Force Awakens was released in 2015. It was the first Star Wars film, produced after Disney's acquisition of Lucasfilm. Nearly 30 years later, a sequel was made, drawing attention from the very beginning of its project planning. This film cleverly blended the classic with the innovative, evoking nostalgia for old fans, while injecting new vitality into the series. Classic characters like Han Solo made their return, along with the familiar Millennium Falcon and witty droids, creating a wealth of memories. The growth arcs of new characters were also captivating, adding fresh perspectives to the story. The visual effects were stunning, with the devastating imagery of Starkiller Base destroying the planet, and the intense lightsaber duels having a huge impact. The film deeply explored human nature, while Kylo Ren's inner struggles made the villain's character three-dimensional. It is not just a science fiction film, but also a celebration of courage and justice. In addition, the film abandons the fast pace and cross-cutting typical of commercial movies, choosing a straightforward narrative style and spectacular visual effects to immerse the audience in an experience that is truly delightful. Friends who are interested can check out the original film, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. If you enjoy my channel, please subscribe to it.